And I like one time was in my helmet and just went over there and like dumped my helmet in there. I was blacking out, seeing stars. But I love that shit. That's Alabama football.
And welcome into Touchdown Live. As always, I am Matthew Travis.
And Jones certainly has a lot of chemistry here with Hereford. Goes to McMillon. McMillon is Smith in the tackle for Alabama.
To the M3 show.
It's not always good for the quarterback on the other side to be talking stuff so early in the game.
Look, I don't have a kid on the way this week, but it's almost time for Alabama football season, baby.
Well, welcome to the first episode of the M3 show. As you heard right there, I'm Matthew Travis, joined by former Alabama football players Josh McMillon and Mac Hereford. Excited to get rolling. Thank you all for listening. So, Josh, we'll start with you. How are you doing today? Couple days away from a big day for you, huh?
I know, right? Doing great. Enjoying this time I'm about to approach here with my second kid on the way. So happy to be a part of the show. Even more happy to be expecting my new little one. So thanks for having me.
Start of a new podcast, new kid, and Alabama football season starting in the same week. I'd say that's a pretty decent week.
Yeah, it's a hell of a week, I tell you.
Awesome. And Mac, what about you? How are you doing?
Look, I don't have a kid on the way this week, but it's almost time for Alabama football season, baby. We're at week 1 this week. We're going to have some picks. We're going to do it. I'm just fired up. Look, I would keep rambling for hours, but it's Alabama football season time. It's basically the same as having a child, some may say.
Oh.
But Josh is getting to do both at the same time. Josh is getting to do both in the same week, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm going to try
Yes, sir. So,
enjoy this time.
So you guys are both players. I see Josh is wearing the fourth quarter shirt right there.
Yes.
Start of a new season going into week 1. For you guys as players, what does that prep look like? How excited were you guys just to see a different jersey lined up against you? Starting again with you, Josh.
I mean, I think you just hit the nail on the head. I mean, we've been going through fall camp for probably 2 months, well, a whole month at this time. The intensity was there, us trying to fight for a starting spot. I mean, you talk about players going good on good each and every day. So it was nice that kind of that race in your heart kind of builds up, man. You know, you get Coach Saban sitting on the podium Friday to give us a good pep talk. I mean, he just has your blood boiling, and Scott Cochran yelling to the top of his lungs. I mean, you'll be ready to knock anyone out that you see. So it was some of the best times ever, and I know these guys are pumped up. I know they're ready to go. Set the new narrative, really put their identity out on the map, and make things happen this year.
And Mac, for you, obviously, maybe a little different experience for you as a walk-on, but for you going into a season, what was kind of your experience as a player getting excited just for the season as a whole?
Look, Matthew, we went through the same stuff. All right, I was in fall camp too.
I didn't mean to slight you.
And,
I was covering you guys. I wasn't even a walk-on.
Hey, Mac was the superstar out there.
I went fall camp. I'll start off with that, like Josh mentioned. That was honestly one of my favorite times of the year. It was hot as hell. You're getting to compete every single day. It's, Coach Saban performance. Preparation is everything. So it's like we're doing drills over and over again. I remember one time, I was talking to someone about this the other day. I was blacking out and went over Josh. They had the cold tubs on the right side. So in fall camp, we had to do mandatory cold tubs after practice. And I one time was in my helmet and just went over there and dumped my helmet in there. I was blacking out, seeing stars. But I love that shit. That's Alabama football. So in the way Josh explained it, it's like you had a bottle. If you had a soda bottle and you're just shaking it up, you're shaking it up, and that thing is ready to explode. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it felt going into the season. I think everybody, works extremely hard. You go through fall camp, everyone else comes in, you're ready to compete and do it against another opponent. And so when you get that chance, it's it feels amazing. And it's a travel game. So it's the first game of the season, you're getting to travel. So it's exciting. And even just me being a walk-on and being a scout team player, I was excited to see those guys that I'd, help prepare for the weeks ahead, get their shot and go out there and ball.
Yeah, and you said it right there. This year is a road game, but it is a little different than what you guys experienced because you guys were in the neutral site era when a lot of the starting games or a lot of them in
Yeah.
Atlanta playing the Chick-fil-A kickoff game right there. One of them being against the same team, Florida State. That was a highly anticipated matchup because of the rankings of the two teams. Obviously, DeAndre Francois going down early. Alabama wins 24-7. Not exactly the game it was hyped up to be. Really good season. You guys are both a part of a national champion team that year, but just talk about your experience going into that game against Florida State that a lot of these players this year are also experiencing going into Saturday.
Yeah, I would say just to start off, things may be a little bit different. This year, there's been like a lot of trash talk, a lot of, what Coach Saban used to say, positive rat poison. These guys have been doing a lot of, social media talking, players really getting out there, speaking their minds. So I could definitely say it's a different approach to that team in 2017. We were ready to just beat up on the next opponent, but I think it's a little personal. I think it was Keenan Allen, one of the defensive linemen. He kind of had us saying like, "Hey, look, minds will change. We're going to make everything. We're going to be respected this year." So I think it's going to be real interesting. It's not always good for the quarterback on the other side to be talking stuff so early in the game.
And Mac, for you, I mean, still going into that 2017 season, playing Florida State and Atlanta, these players are experiencing that same feeling, that same excitement. Florida State's down this year, but just talk about going into that game and your experience going into Florida State as well.
Yeah, I believe that was my first preseason travel game, if I'm not mistaken. And I just, it was exciting when it's in Atlanta. It's like it's an awesome atmosphere in that dome. And then we had guys like specifically from the event. It's like, all right, Florida State's a big dog, but I think guys weren't really like the way it was at Alabama. And Josh can kind of piggyback on this or say agrees or disagrees, but we didn't really care. Like it wasn't like we were really looked into that stuff much. Like we were so focused on our practices and preparation that like it didn't care what they said if they were the number one team. Like whoever they were, we were going to go in there and kick some ass. Sorry for my language, but yeah. So like and from that game, like some of the vivid memories that I have. One of the ones specifically is Levi Wallace. Former walk on as well, finally got his chance. And I remember that's one of the things I'll never forget about that game is getting to see him get an interception, make a huge impact in that game, and segued into him having a great season, and then ended up he panned out really well in the NFL. But that was an incredible moment getting to see him, and it was very hype seeing that he played a great game in general.
And you kind of talked about it right there. Going into that game, there was some talk going back and forth. Like I said, it was a highly anticipated game. Going into this year, there's that same talk. Castellanos is talking about how he's always wanted to play Alabama. Mike Norvell is talking about how he turned down the Alabama job, whether that be true or not. What do you guys think as players when you hear that outside talk? You hear the opposing quarterback talk about how he's always wanted to beat Alabama and he can't wait to get that chance. When you guys hear that, the rat poison, as Nick Saban referred to it, what kind of went through your head, and did that make you even that much more excited going into a game?
Oh, for sure. I think you definitely, even if you say that it really doesn't phase you, it's always back there in your conscience, like when you hitting up against your opponent on the football field. So I definitely took it personal. These guys really think in the ACC that they can come in and big bully the top dogs in the SEC. So definitely took it personal. Tried to make them feel it each and every time we were on the field.
Yeah, I would say it was more of a like it wasn't like something that was really going to affect us anyway negatively. It was only an additive to the mindset we already had going into the game. We're already going in there to kill. You know what I mean? It was always going in to do that, but then it was like, all right, it's an extra additive. And specifically speaking, the team or player only meetings on Thursdays on game week. I remember guys like Josh, they would use it all the time. They would like pull up a picture and they'd be like, they said this about so and so. And I think one time someone may have even made something up that they said about Tony Brown. And Tony Brown believed it, I think. I don't think it was real. And he went in there, it like fired him up even more. So
I
I
don't
think
think
there's
it
a
takes much to fire up Tony Brown, though, huh?
Oh no, no,
no,
no.
not
It does.
that much to fire him up, but it's like that's the whole thing. It never affected us negatively. If anything, it was just an additive that yeah, guys did take personally, and want to go out there and beat the opposing team even more.
Yeah, I
So
will say
going,
one thing, just not to cut you off, Matt, but like to add on to what you said, Mac, they did have signs just posted all over the locker room. And I mean, it would be tweets that these guys actually said, and anytime that they would go out to the media, and like it was just adding fuel to the fire. Like I can remember it so vividly. It was shots thrown at the quarterback. It was. I think we just had Jalen Hurts come in, and they were just talking about how he's inconsistent, he's a freshman, and things like that. So they will post these notes and these letters everywhere on the lockers, just so we can really have some animosity towards our opponents.
And even to say more on what Josh said, so talking about we used to have the pictures in the locker room. We also had them in the weight room. And then the other thing that was crazy is we had like they would play on the screen in the weight room the opposing team's like highlight tapes. Or if the opposing team had beaten us, they would replay that game over and over and over again in the weight room. So every time you're running in, they're blowing the whistle, we run out of the hole, we're coming into the gym. It would be like, it's in our face everywhere. You couldn't get away from it. So anything that we got was just like Josh said, extra fuel in the fire. The engine was already rolling. They're just adding gas.
and it's interesting for practices listening to the press conferences on Monday. It's just the noise, the outside noise going into Florida State. Obviously, they have their war chant that they play seemingly every single play. Did that kind of mimic it at all, or was that accurate for you guys listening to the crowd noise in practices and then going into those environments like Florida State? Like obviously LSU stands out as one of those. Did that feel accurate? Did that actually help you guys going into a game in a pretty hostile environment?
Oh, for sure. Like it was almost intensified times 100. Like you would have noise so loud that you couldn't even hear or speak to the person next to you. And so, like Coach Coach Saban was a perfectionist when it came to being prepared. Like he oftentimes said, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So he'll put you in the worst situation ever. Blasting music so loud that you can't even hear your own self speak, let alone think. And it was that preparation for being in those hostile environments and being able to talk to your next partner or communicate to the defensive lineman or the secondary. So I mean, it was great in my opinion.
Yeah, on those Thursday practices. So our last like practice at the facility in the week, we would have the crowd noise in the indoor. So we'd move us all indoor. We'd have a specific like certain amount of periods that were all like crowd noise, and that they would blast it through the speakers, and it was just. I mean, I don't even know where they got this crowd noise from. I don't know where it came from. Sometimes I was like, "Is this crowd noise or is this just loud noises?" But they played it all during those periods, and yeah, definitely. I think I was always able to hear and stuff, but I think especially for the quarterbacks and linebackers, people who are being able to make calls and lead the defense, the offense, it was definitely helpful.
So let's get into it. We got a football game this Saturday. It's been a long off season, especially with how last season ended. Obviously, losing in the ReliaQuest Bowl to Michigan after I would say, an unfortunately disappointing season, losing obviously to Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt, all three games on the road. Going into this season, talking about Florida State specifically, obviously Jam Miller got hurt, obviously a big miss, but Ty Simpson is starting quarterback. We'll start with you, Josh. What are you hoping to see? What does Alabama need to do on Saturday to make it quiet there in Tallahassee by the second quarter?
I really think, staying true to who we are. I think getting the running game established early, even though we lost Jam Miller, but, it's always kind of like a next man up mentality. So that starts with the next running back, Richard Young. I've always seen, positive things from him. He's been great in the run game. So I feel like if we can get him started early, kind of get him some runs, and then kind of get Ty off to a good start with his weapons around him. That's one good thing, having a new quarterback in a system, having those good pieces around. So, have guys like Ryan Williams, who's a starter that's coming back, and it's gonna make him feel comfortable knowing that these guys are playmakers, and we just got to get the ball into their hands, and the rest will be history.
Mac, what are you hoping to see Saturday? And for you, maybe what are the keys you think for Alabama to, like I said, make that crowd noise not be a factor early on?
Yeah, I think, and then I would love to hear some of your thoughts, Matthew. But I would love to, I think it starts up front, offensive line. We got a lot of vets. The big boys got to be working. They got to be doing their job, and they're also, protecting a new quarterback or a quarterback that hasn't gotten this opportunity to start for the Crimson Tide yet. And it starts up there with them. I think if they do a good job, take control, it's going to make Ty feel comfortable. And I'm excited to see what he can do if he's comfortable back there. Obviously, I want to see the run game, like Josh says. I think we get back to the Bama football, just run the damn ball, and that'll take some pressure off him as well. And then defensively, I think I think we'll do a good job. I'd like to see the guys play in sync. And first game always a little bit interesting, but I think we'll shut them up quick if we establish it up front with the big guys. And I don't think Florida State's defensive line. I'm interested to see what they do since they're just I think it's a bunch of transfers and new guys. So that should be a key factor in this game. And then obviously the receiver core, we have a bunch of studs, and I want to see Ryan Williams go off like he did last season.
Yeah, I mean, you guys both hinted to it, but Jam Miller being out, obviously very unfortunate, but it helps when you have a strong and a veteran presence up front with the offensive line. And that's what Alabama has. So it'll give Richard Young, Dick Young, whatever you want to call him, it'll give him a lot of opportunities to find holes and be able to maybe get a little comfortable back there going into the first game, and then obviously going into week 2, week 3 against Wisconsin as well. So that'll give us a lot of opportunities, but I'm just really excited to see the defense. I think both the front seven and then really the secondary as well. All pretty much our entire defense was named on either the first, second, or third all SEC preseason team, and they're all there for a reason. A lot of them are returning, and I think Alabama as a whole this year is just really strong across the board, and especially once Jam is back come SEC play, hopefully for the start of the SEC play at Georgia. But once Jam is back, I just don't see a whole lot of weaknesses, which then means it all comes down to Ty. He's a obviously first year starting quarterback. He's gotten opportunities here and there, but he won a pretty tough quarterback battle with Austin Mack, and then obviously a newcomer in Keelan. So I'm hopeful, and the first game at Florida State is really going to say a lot about Ty's comfortability. On Monday, Coach Grubb and obviously Kalen DeBoer were all both speaking very highly of him, and he's waited his turn. I mean, in high school, I'm going to read a quote to both of you. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but he said this in high school. He said, "Whether I start my freshman year, my fifth year, senior year, I do not really care. Be like how Mac was. I guess you can say learn from Tua and Jalen. It's just Bryce, Paul, and Jalen for me." He predicted it when he was in high school. So to have that mindset, to have the opportunity to have transferred really whenever he wanted and be a starter somewhere else, and to stick it out like Mac Jones, Mac's good friend Mac Jones, like Mac, to be able to do that and get his turn, wait his turn, win the quarterback battle going into this season. I'm excited about and we'll get into our predictions for the season in a bit. But that's why I have Alabama going where they're going, because of that mindset that Ty has, being able to stick it out. I think that speaks a lot not only to his character, but also to his play, to have the confidence in himself to wait 4 years, be a backup, be a third string, be behind Bryce, be behind Jalen for all those years, wait his turn, and then believe in himself enough to win the starting job. So ultimately, to make a long story short, I think it'll come down to Ty. I think Alabama's defense this year is really, really strong. Once Jam gets back, I'm a big believer in Jam once he returns, if he can be full strength from the injury. But curious to hear you guys just what you think about Ty going in. Like I said, what you think about that quote specifically, that exactly happening.
Well, I feel like, Ty has a lot of tangibles. I think he had his arm strength capabilities are there. And what may come as a shock. I mean, I think he can get the job done with his feet too. I mean, there was a game probably not too long ago where he came in and he had I think it was like 60.
Kentucky.
Yeah, it was like a 60-yard touchdown. I mean, the guy he can really roll. So I think what's going to come as a shock to people when they really see how many rushing touchdowns he had this year. So
Yeah, with Jam out, especially early on, that'll be that much more important. So definitely an important factor there. Just Mac, what's your feeling on where Ty's at, and maybe your belief in him going into the season?
Yeah, I mean, you love to hear that quote. I saw that quote. I love that. I'm like, that's classic Alabama guy growing up and like wanting to play for the university. And especially too, not to mention it's in an NIL era. Like guys are getting paid to go other places. I'm sure he would have opportunities, a lot of other places to go. And no one knows what his situation looked like prior to that. And he had faith to have to stay there and he had to fight for the job and he went and earned it. So I love that, and I can speak to that in the sense of seeing guys like Mac Jones, like you said, like him coming in, seeing him how he went through the whole entire process, and it really makes it so the team can rally behind that guy. When that guy starts, people are excited, people are happy, and it makes a big difference on the team with charisma and just guys getting fired up. I mean, Josh, did you play with Blake Sims? He was another guy that I was thinking of. Or was he a lot?
no,
Lot.
Mac, I'm not that old again. You keep throwing shots. I came in
AJ
at
McCarron, was
2015.
he your teammate, AJ?
Josh, that was not a shot. I thought y'all were buddies. Okay, that
I
was
mean,
not a
no, we
shot.
are buddies. We are buddies now.
But
I'm
Blake
just
Did you
Sims,
play with Joe Namath?
Blake Sims was another guy, though. You know what I'm saying? He
yeah.
stayed there. And it's like those kind of guys, the team loves those people. Not only the team, but the fans, and there's someone that people can get behind. So I'm really excited to see Ty get out there. And, it's going to be the first game. I'm not expecting like an insane game, but I'm expecting him to do a good job. And that's what he's a well-rounded quarterback. And like Josh said, I think a bunch of people sleep on his feet. He can run the dang football too. And speaking of running the football, I meant to bring it back a little bit to Florida State, Matthew. Their quarterback, Castellanos, he can run. Is that how you say it?
Yep, Nick,
Yep.
not Nick, but that's the baseball player. But
He
yes,
can run the
Castellanos
football.
coming from Boston College.
And Alabama always has a problem with running quarterbacks. So as much as we have a great defense, I'm excited to see how they prepared and how they plan to control him because that's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's interesting this year. It's the last year of the 8 SEC game schedule. Obviously, SEC play a little while away, but recently, obviously, the news being as the SEC is moving to a 9 game schedule. Curious what you guys think about that. Not only playing a 9 game conference schedule, but also you're now required to play at least one Big Ten, Big 12, ACC team, or Notre Dame. And for you guys, kind of similar to the COVID year when you played 10 SEC regular season games going into the playoff. But we'll get back to Florida State and our picks for that game and also the rest of the week 1 slate in a second. But curious what you guys think about moving into a 9 game schedule and then also being required. It's no different for Alabama, but it's different for a lot of these other teams to now play a big time non-conference opponent as well.
Well, just to correct you, we didn't only just play 10 SEC games, we
Dominated.
dominated 10 SEC games and then went on to play in the SEC championship and dominate Ohio State all during COVID. I mean, Mac, you have to say that was a pretty impressive year.
That was my junior year.
You guys looking from afar, I'm just telling you, I told everybody if there's a team that's going to be prepared for a COVID season, for a season you don't know what the hell is going on, it's going to be the University of Alabama football team because Nick Saban is going to find a dang way. That's how it was. So I was not when it happened and when y'all were dominating, no shocker to me, no surprise. I that's exactly what I thought would happen.
Man, so we're gonna interrupt the 9 game schedule for a second. 2019 LSU, 2020 Alabama. Where are we at? This one's
2019 Alabama. I think 2019 Alabama. I think 2018 Alabama. LSU got lucky. They got lucky.
For sure. That was a year.
Is this on air or is this?
This is on air. This is on air.
Okay. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I think 2018 was the year I tore my ACL. 2019 for sure was like the revenge year. We came out hot, smoking, and had a little chip on our shoulder. We kind of felt like
The end of that half killed me. Just
yeah,
not kneeing it.
yeah, it was pretty brutal.
But so Josh, 2019 LSU versus 2020 Alabama. In my opinion, I think LSU is regarded as one of the best of all time, but I think that 2020 Alabama team doesn't get enough respect because of the fact that you guys played, like you said, didn't play, dominated 10 SEC regular season games, dominated in the Rose Bowl, which was in Arlington that year, and then the national championship. 2019 LSU, 2020 Alabama, all healthy. Who you got?
Oh, I got 2020 Alabama all day long.
Love
That
to
was
hear
that
it.
was my last year. I mean, I played a little bit of both sides of the ball, fullback, inside linebacker. I mean, we had the depth. We had every personnel that you could even ask for. I mean, that was the year Mac Jones was just on it. He was on fire. He was doing everything. I mean, it's kind of the expectation that I have for Ty, just being able to be in a coach's system and be able to develop and learn and really like make that transition onto the field. Like you can really see the confidence of some of the players when they have their time and kind of their bond with their coach. And that's the big expectation I have for Ty this year.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Predictions, expectations, hopes going into this year. Where are you guys at with the 2025 Alabama squad?
Mac, I'll let you start first. I'm still marinating on this.
And I can go if you want me to jump in here, give you a second to
Yeah,
go
you
to,
know
Mac.
what, Matt? Go ahead.
So I talked about my confidence kind of around the board with Alabama. I'm a big believer in Ty just because of, as we talked about, everything he's gone through. Our defense is, I mean, Alabama's defense is phenomenal going into every season, but I think this year that's going to be where Alabama's bread and butter is. I have us at 11-1 in the regular season, which might be a little bold,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the LSU, the Georgia, and the South Carolina games, I think those three are going to be the ones that I could see slipping up and going either way. I think South Carolina is going to be really good. I was at that game last year. I was scared as hell going into that final drive, but I think South Carolina is going to be good. And I don't know if you guys have played at Williams-Brice. Yeah, you guys played at
Yeah.
Williams-Brice
Mm-hmm.
Stadium. Williams-Brice Stadium is one of the most underrated environments in the country, in my opinion. I think that's going to be a tougher game than people are thinking it's going to be. LSU is obviously very good. Garrett Nussmeier, a Heisman hopeful going into the season, and then obviously Georgia's Georgia. So I think those three are going to be the three to watch. I think Alabama drops one, maybe two of those. One obviously gets you into the playoff. Two might get you into the playoff. And I have us at 11-1 going into the SEC title game against Texas. And I have Alabama winning the SEC title game against Texas, getting the one seed going into the playoff. I don't have anybody entering the playoff undefeated. So I have Alabama. I don't have Alabama winning the national title. I could definitely see it. But I have us losing a revenge game to Texas in the semifinals. So as a whole, 12-1 after the SEC title game, win a college football playoff game, and then I have us dropping a semifinal game to Texas. So,
Josh, you
uh,
got yours ready? Or you want me to go ahead? Mine's
you don't
easy.
have to pick game by game. I just went.
Mine's
I'm like,
easy.
yeah.
I'll
Let's
just
hear
say
it.
this. I think we're one loss regular season. I think we win the SEC title game, and then I think we go on and win the playoffs. I
Okay.
think it's very similar to the Alabama when we beat Georgia in the championship game. That was like my sophomore. I get the dates mixed up. I believe that was my sophomore year. Yeah, so that
Yeah,
same
that
season
was
we played Florida State
2018.
again.
Yeah,
I see a
second
little
and
deja
26.
vu. I see we go ahead. I'm not going to go too in depth what I think is going to happen in the Florida State game. What happens happens, and then Alabama goes on one loss, kind of a tough game, fires us up for the rest of the year, pivots us to go win the SEC title and the national championship.
That's kind of the same take I'm going. That's why I was kind of thinking about it, trying to
Josh,
like.
he didn't pick Vanderbilt.
Oh, I didn't pick Vanderbilt.
No, Mac didn't pick Vanderbilt.
I know that is pretty shocking. You know, he's a traitor. That's how I feel some type of way. Mac left me at the University of Alabama. We were supposed to ride out, senior year together, and he just left me hanging. But I sort of kind of have the same idea. I kind of want to take it back to the year we played Ole Miss and we lost at the University of Alabama. I think, we're going to come out starting on fire. I think we're going to kind of get the big head. And I think when we have to travel into Athens and play Georgia, that's going to be the game that kind of gives us a little a challenge. So I feel like we're going to fall up short. That would then give us the boost to be able to knock down any team. I have us playing Georgia again in the SEC championship, taking them over, and then going on to win the Natty. So a
Okay,
little
so all three of us have one loss regular season. All three of us have SEC champions, and you two have national champions.
for sure.
I
That's
like
right.
it. I like the sound of that. So, Mac, Josh has us losing to Georgia. I have us dropping one of the three. I think I picked Georgia in my predictions. Your one regular season loss, what games are you looking at as a potential trip up, potential difficult game?
I don't want to say like one in particular. I just think that that's the way it works. I think there's going to be one fluke game, and I can't predict which one it's going to be, but a game, not necessarily a fluke game, but something similar to when we lost to the LSU in 2019, where it's like a really close game. We really could have won that game. It was an electric game, great atmosphere, you come back, but we had a couple of fluke accidents within the game that made the smallest bit of difference, which allowed them to win, and then kind of segued into us having the rest of the season that we did. So to not answer your point, but to answer it, I'm not going to predict which exact game, but I definitely think that there's a time in the season where things just go a different way. And I feel like that's just going to happen. It's football. And when you have two great teams competing against each other, the margin of error is so small. So
Yeah, and I guess that makes picking the SEC and the college football playoff a little easier if all three of us have us winning the SEC title. I'm the only one who doesn't have us winning the national championship. Again, I have us as the one seed losing to Texas, who's the four in the semis. And on the other side, I have Ohio State beating Clemson in the semis, Texas beating Ohio State to win a national title, which pains me a little bit. But I was there when we beat Texas in Austin. I was actually sitting right next to Bryce Young's parents. Was there when we lost to Texas, so that stings a little bit. But we're not a Texas podcast, but I'm a big believer in Texas. Sark, you
Hey,
guys both know Sark. I think they just have it rolling. They have to win it at some point, and I think it might be this season. I think Arch is going to get it done.
I know you're an Archie Manning fan. That's what you are. I see
I'm
it
not an
now.
Arch. I mean, I'm
Arch
from New
Manning
York.
Glazer. Arch Manning
I'm
Glazer.
from New York, so I love his uncle. Big Eli Manning fan, but I'm not an Arch Manning guy. But yeah, so Texas is my pick to win the national championship. Let's get into week one. So Alabama at Florida State. We hinted at it a minute ago. Alabama at the time of us recording this, 13.5 point favorite. Josh, we'll start with you. What do you see? 13.5 point favorite. Does Alabama cover?
Oh, for sure. They cover more than that. That's where I'm
Awesome.
going with it. We're dominating. I got the spread. I got to be in 28 over.
Mac, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go on most of these. I'm going to give you a quick little hitter on them, and then I'm going to tell you what I think, what my pick is. Some of it's just going to be going with the gut. This Alabama Florida State game, definitely taking Alabama minus 13.5. I think we come out there. Maybe it's a slow start. Ty Simpson's kind of getting used to it, getting into it. Stadium's loud, but then everyone kind of calms down a little bit, and we go out there and just dominate the second half. So Alabama minus 13.5. Lock it. Go ahead and put it down.
I don't love the graphic of all three of us picking Alabama minus 13.5, but I'm also going Alabama minus 13.5. Kind of what Mac just said. I think it'll be somewhat of a little slow start. Ty getting used to it. It's his first start. So I think it'll be a little slow, maybe a three. We might be down going into the second quarter, and I think we're up double digits going into halftime, and it just keeps on going on, and we'll see either Austin and or Keelan in the second half. I think Alabama's going to win by 24 plus. I don't see it being that close. Next one, everyone's going to this game in terms of national shows. Number one, Texas at number three, Ohio State. Mac, we'll start with you for this one. Ohio State's a 1.5 point favorite.
Yeah, I am going with Texas plus 1.5 here. As you mentioned already, Texas is definitely a national championship contender this year. Arch Manning, the guy is a stud. He's already proved that. Now he's getting the opportunity to go full guns a-blazing. I love Coach Sarkisian's awesome. When my experience with him at Alabama was great, and really believe in him and what he's doing at that program. And you got a lot of old Alabama staff at that program. So I'm basically going with the Bama 2.0, the Texas to cover +1.5.
Josh?
I got Texas. Just to piggy off what Max said. Coach Sark is an offensive mastermind. I mean, he's going to draw up everything you can think of on that football field, and I think they're going to come out on top at the end of this.
Yeah, and I already said who I already hinted at who I have for this game, seeing I have Texas at 12-1 going into the playoffs. So I have Texas. I already talked about why, but it's interesting you said, Mac, that they're Alabama 2.0, considering all the former Tide guys Ohio State has, Julian Sayin obviously being one of them at starting quarterback. So that will be one hell of a game. Should be a good one. Also, another game that should be incredible, the Battle of the Death Valleys. Two Heisman hopefuls for this one, number 9 LSU at number 4 Clemson. I'll start us off with this one. I've got Clemson in this one. Clemson's -4. I believe in Klubnik. I have Clemson getting pretty far. I have them getting to the semifinal. LSU hasn't won a season opening game since 2019. Most of those have been, all of those have been on the road. Only one has been in the state of Louisiana. They've lost all of them. They lost to Florida State twice. They lost to USC in Vegas last year. They lost to UCLA out when Ed O called it the little sissy blue shirts going into that game. I don't think LSU is going to. I think after this game, LSU is going to be very, very good and a tough team to beat. But I got Clemson defending home turf -4.
I'm gonna jump in here. I'm gonna say go ahead and cut it short. I'll say Clemson -4 lock. I don't want to go against the SEC here, but I love the Sweeney family. Coach Sweeney has done some incredible. Look, Josh, that might not be the most analytical thing. I said I'm going with the gut with some of these things.
Oh
The
my
Sweeney
God.
family is great. Coach Sweeney is a great football coach. Reminds me of just, he's a player's coach, but also a coach in the sense he's able to maintain strategy, or not strategy, but structure within his program and respect from his players. But he also shows those guys he cares for them, loves them, which makes them work a little bit harder. And then you got Cade Klubnik coming back. He's been there for a couple of years now. He's basically a veteran at this time, and I believe in him as well. I think he's ready to have his best season yet, especially due to the fact that there's Paul Tyson up there on the staff at Clemson, former Alabama quarterback. I know he's getting those guys right. So, long story short, Clemson Tigers -4, another lock.
Okay, so I'm gonna go LSU for sure. I'm gonna tell you why. Brian Kelly has been in the SEC for some time now, and I think this is the year that he makes his name. Kind of the headlines. He's able to get a good group of guys, some freshmen that are kind of seniors that he's kind of put his arms around and kind of got the team to have that camaraderie feel. So I feel like he's a player's coach. He's going to get these guys on the right page, and I think this is the time for him to make a big name for himself and take down the number 4 ranked team.
Final ranked game, also a top 10 matchup. Number 6 Notre Dame, 2.5-point favorite at number 10 Miami. Josh, will kick it right back to you for this one.
Oh, this is a tough one because I have family down there with Mario Cristobal in Miami. Like that is my guy. I love him. He was the offensive line coach back when I was there at the University of Alabama. I mean, he does tremendous things with his team. I hate to say it, but I love what Notre Dame has been able to do in these past 2 years with their team. Going to the national championship, being able to compete and turn the team around with just having that interim coach in place. So I think I'm going to go Notre Dame. I'm sorry. Sorry, Cristobal, if you see this. I love you, but Notre Dame for sure.
Mac?
Yeah, this is a tough one. Out of all the ones that we've looked over so far, this seems to be the biggest toss-up to me. A lot on the point, like Marcus Freeman, head coach of Notre Dame. I absolutely love the things that he preaches and the way he's been able to turn that program into what he has and what he did last year. It's just hard to believe without Riley Leonard, who was such an impactful player for them. as well as some wide receivers that they'll be able to put up the production they did last year on offense. And they're going to be a defensively, a strong defensive team. It's just, and then I guess you have on the other side, Miami, Carson Beck coming in from Georgia. I think, gosh, Josh doesn't love Cristobal enough, but I do. So I'm going to go with Miami Hurricanes. I think Carson Beck, this is his chance. He played with Georgia. He played in the biggest games possible, and he had some really great games and did really well. And I think just translating over here to Miami, I think he's going to be able to do the same thing. And it's really a toss-up, but I'm going to go with Miami on this one.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. I have Miami getting to the playoff. I have them losing in the ACC title game to Clemson. I think Miami at home, Miami isn't too much of a home field advantage considering they play an hour away from their campus. But Miami 2.5 point dogs. I will take the Canes and Carson Beck. Now getting into the SEC games, Auburn on the road to begin their season. They're at Baylor. Currently, Auburn is a 2.5 point favorite. I'll keep it short and sweet. They have one coach calling first down, one coach calling second down, one calling third. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They're apparently playing 3 quarterbacks on Saturday. That is the saying goes, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. I don't know how the hell it goes if you have 3. Give me Baylor, 2.5 point underdogs at home.
I hate to do this because one of my boys is a massive Baylor fan.
Oh,
He's a
here he
massive
goes.
Baylor fan. But I'm going to – and I don't want to do this, too, for another reason.
I think you do want to do
multiple
this.
other reasons. I don't want to do this, okay? But I'm just going to have to say, when all the odds are stacked against them, sounds like they don't know what the hell's going on over there. Shit's flying everywhere. I'm just going to go ahead and just say sprinkle on the Tigers. Why not? Auburn Tigers, SEC, we're showing them some love. Give them another chance. They
We are disowning Mac. We are disowning
the graphic of Mac's face right next to the Auburn logo. I'm looking forward to that. Josh, it sounds like you've got Baylor.
Baylor all the way. I don't care if Auburn was, ranked number 1. I would never pick that team a day in my life. Give me Baylor.
Awesome. Next one, Syracuse at Tennessee. A lot of gross orange in this game. Tennessee, a 13.5 point favorite. I think Syracuse is a little better than they're credited with. Their over-under for wins this season is only 5.5. 13.5 point favorite. I will go Syracuse to cover the 13.5. I think Tennessee still wins by like 10, but I will take Syracuse 13.5 point dogs.
I will go with
pondering.
Look, first, this is off topic. Let me go back to the topic before. Let me be clear. I don't want Auburn to win the football game. Okay?
I think
we're
you
gonna
do.
Have to put this. We're gonna have to put this into the clip. I don't want.
I think
them to
you
win
want
the
an
football
exciting
game.
Iron Bowl.
I'm looking at it as SEC. Okay, I'm choosing the SEC, and then also it's not about what I want. It's about
He's one of those guys
that I'm giving out to the people. It's about the picks that I'm giving people and trying to help them out, and that's truly what I think the pick's going to be. It has nothing to do with emotions here. Okay, we're going to move on to the Syracuse versus Tennessee game. Another thing that I don't want Tennessee to cover the spread. Tennessee drives me absolutely bonkers. They drive me crazy. We're going to have to go with the Vols here.
Josh, Tennessee 13.5 point favorite for Syracuse.
I'm going with Tennessee. They've always been a great team.
You're sick.
I'm like you. I'm right with the SEC, man. I think they've always been a great team, especially under the new head coach there. What can you say, Mac? Syracuse, really? Come on.
Look, I'm not saying Syracuse. I'm just I'm heckling you because y'all got onto me about choosing Auburn. And it wasn't about emotions with that pick. I looked at it as an analyst, a betting analyst. Chose what I thought was the best pick for me, man.
You leave Alabama, you go to Vanderbilt, and now you're rooting for Auburn.
Whoa, stop. We're rooting for Auburn. Let's get that right. Let's continue down the damn thing.
All right, moving on. We got Mississippi State. They're a 13.5 point favorite. They're playing at Southern Miss for this one. Again, 13.5 point favorite. Mississippi State's over-under for wins this year, only 3.5. Southern Miss, 5.5. I think this one could be interesting. Southern Miss is not going to win this game, but 13.5 is a big number for a team only predicted to win 3.5 games on the road. So I'll take Southern Miss with the points. Josh?
Yeah, give me the under with Mississippi State for sure. I just don't find them being too consistent, like you said, with them only being able to win 3.5 games. I'll take the under.
You mean Mississippi State? Or I
He
mean
means
Southern
Southern
Miss
Miss.
plus
No,
He
so
means
yeah,
13 and a
Southern
half.
Miss. Yes.
my bad, my bad.
He couldn't
I was
gamble. He
tripping.
was a player. He doesn't know all this.
I don't know.
Look, you could do it after.
He
This is
played in
one.
college. He was teammates with Sims. What do you mean? He's been in college still.
Hey,
Listen, on this one right here, I don't look.
SEC.
I get it with Mississippi State, but I'm going to have to go back with the SEC here. We're talking SEC football. I don't care
You've picked
how.
SEC
Look,
for every game. What do you mean back with the SEC?
whoa. You don't know what my next SEC picks are going to be. I'm just saying, I don't care how much you could get derailed off the train tracks of what the SEC is or what it's meant to be. But Mississippi State, you got to find a way to beat Southern Miss by more than 13 and a half points in the season opener. You know what I'm saying? It's an SEC Division One, not Division One FCS, Division One school, and the SEC has to have the preparation. I'm gambling on the Mississippi State winning by more than 13 and a half.
Another Group of Five team playing an SEC team. Toledo at Kentucky. Toledo should be very good. They're my pick to win the MAC. Over under for wins for them is 8.5. Kentucky not going to be very good. Kentucky 7.5 point favorite, but I'll take Kentucky. I think they win it by about 10. Mac.
You led that by saying that Toledo was going to be a really good team, and then segued into saying Tennessee was going to win by 10.
Kentucky.
Kentucky. It's Kentucky. Look, last year you saw what happened. Some of the games I went to, I thought they were going to be my wagon. Kentucky ended up screwing me. So I'm going to have look, I like Kentucky, great school. Actually went to a game last year, enjoyed the stadium, enjoyed the vibe, the environment. But I hate to say this for all my Kentucky friends. Don't hurt me, but Toledo plus 7.5.
Do they win the game?
come on, Big Blue Nation.
Screw it. The Torpedoes are going to do it big. The Torpedoes are going to do it big.
What about you, Josh?
You know, I think I'm gonna ride with Kentucky. I think they're gonna be the slept-on team this year. I'm going with Kentucky.
All right. Marshall at number 5, Georgia. The line for this one is Georgia minus 39.5. Marshall lost their entire team to Southern Miss and all over the place. I will take Georgia minus 39.5. Josh?
I mean, even if Georgia lost their whole team, I still think it'll be Georgia minus 39.5. So I'm going with Georgia for sure.
Gosh, this is a tough one. Let me see something real quick, doing some big numbers on the back end right now.
No, he's at Southern Miss, if that's your question.
That's bad. We're not even cut that part of this. So yeah, we're gonna have to make sure to cut that out because I don't want
So now do you want Mississippi State? Now do you want Southern Miss versus Mississippi State knowing that?
Shuckleberry. Yeah, that kind of changes the odds because I love Huff. But I'm going to go ahead and say for this game, Georgia Marshall, give me the Bulldogs. Kirby Smart's going to keep doing what he's been doing. This program is peak of college football right now, along with a couple of others, but they're definitely one of the top dogs. And, you know, we are Marshall, great school, you know, great program, but Huff left them. And now they're facing the Dogs, and they got to own up to it, and I don't think it's going to be good.
Where did Huff go?
He's at Southern
Miss.
Oh.
Yeah, they really bad situation going into their bowl game. They ended up pulling out of the bowl in Shreveport, the Independence Bowl, and they're literally because their entire program, every single player left, so they didn't have a team to field for their bowl game. So very wild situation there. Next one on the slate, Illinois State at 18, Oklahoma. Oklahoma 35.5 point favorite. Mac.
So I was looking up that Huff stuff. Illinois State at number 18, Oklahoma. I don't even know if I've heard of Illinois State before. So with all due respect, I'm just going to make this quick. Oklahoma minus 35. Hammer it.
What about you, Josh?
I think I'm gonna go with Oklahoma. They showed a lot of resilience last year late in the season, and I know they have a few returning starters. So give me Oklahoma.
I am not a Oklahoma believer. I have their under for wins but it's Illinois State. I will also ride the Oklahoma minus 35-point train. UTSA at 19, Texas A&M. Texas A&M a 24.5-point favorite. UTSA, not bad, not great. I will go to Josh first to make the choice. He wanted me to make the choice.
Well, no, it's just I've been thinking about what Jimbo Fisher has been doing these last few years. I mean,
Making a lot of money to not coach football.
exactly. I mean, you gather all the first five stars, and you pay them a good little wage, but they're not producing on the football field, man. So like, I want to go with Texas A&M, and I'm an SEC guy, so I am gonna go with Texas A&M. But I just really don't know. I really don't know to go. I don't know.
So A&M's your pick, though?
Yeah, A&M for sure is the pick.
All right, 24.5 A&M Mac to you.
I think A&M is going to be somewhat solid this year. I think they'll have like an 8-win season, if not a little bit more. And with that thinking, I'm going to have to say that they're going to cover that 24.5, minus 24.5 spread against the Roadrunners. The Roadrunners can just keep on running because they ain't doing it against Texas A&M.
I think UTSA is a good team this year. Texas A&M, I think, is also a pretty solid team. I'll go with A&M minus 24.5. These next two we'll get through quickly. Well, Mac might spend a little bit of time on this one. Charleston Southern at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt 37.5 or 37-point favorite. Mac, we'll start it with your alma mater.
Look, 37 points is a lot of points, okay? But it's
So
not
you're
a lot
saying
of
they
points.
can't get the job done?
No.
It's
He
okay
doesn't
to say
believe in
that,
his
man.
squad, Josh. He doesn't believe in him.
You didn't hear me. Let me finish, Josh. 37 points is a lot of points. But if there's a quarterback who can sling that football and run that thing better than most any in college football, it's Diego Pavia.
His
He's
favorite
done it
quarterback
against
in
the
the
best of
country.
the best. It's not my favorite quarterback in the country, okay, but he is a stud. I think he is the real deal, undersized a little bit. People have doubted him left and right, but the guy keeps showing up. He keeps freaking showing up. He can sling the rock. He can game. He can do stuff. It looks like backyard football out there for him sometimes. And I think if there's any quarterback that can put up those numbers, season opener against Charleston Southern, it's going to be Pavia. I'm locking in, anchor down, hammer the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Didn't
They're
realize we were
going
a
for it all.
Vanderbilt podcast, Josh.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking he was going for Vanderbilt last year, and I know I saw him
He
out
was
on
he lives
Broadway
in
Street
Nashville.
after
He
the
was
game.
on the field after the game.
Oh, for sure.
I was not there. I
He
was
was
not
carrying
there
the
before these
goalpost down
rumors.
Broadway. I saw him.
No,
He was
no.
leading the charge.
People speculating, sending out rumors left and right. I was not in the state at the time. Just want to be clear. I was not in the state, and I have multiple witnesses and eye accounts that I was nowhere to be close. I was actually in the state of North Carolina. So continue on with y'all's conversation.
Go ahead, Josh. Vanderbilt, 37-point favorite versus Charleston Southern.
Give me Charleston Southern. I don't
What?
like Vanderbilt. I don't care.
You're
I'm
a scum.
biased. I don't care, and I don't like Vanderbilt. And it's all for Matt. Charleston Southern.
Vanderbilt, 37-point favorite. Charleston Southern, FCS team. It ain't happening. Vanderbilt not going to be great this year, but they covered 37 week one. This one we'll get through it quickly. Georgia State, a bad team in my eyes at 21. Ole Miss 36-point favorite. I will ride with the Rebs.
I'm going to Josh, go ahead.
I mean, I love Lane Kiffin. He was at University of Alabama for I think a couple of years. He's done a phenomenal job at turning that Ole Miss program around. Give me Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I'm also going to lock in with the Rebels. I think their quarterback, I believe his name is Austin Mack, had gotten to. We got to see a little bit of him last year when Dart was injured for a couple of drives. Pretty big game. I'm really blanking on what game that was right now. But I think he's going to come in there. He's going to sling the football. Kiffin always works well with a great quarterback. He's a great quarterback. Kiffin's been doing a good job, offensive mastermind. Like Josh said, we both got to spend a lot of time with him in Alabama. Interesting guy, but hell of a football coach. And he's kind of funny. So I'm going to lock in with the Rebs.
Joey
They got the
Freshwater.
they got the fresh water down there. Austin Simmons, Austin Mack, the Alabama backup quarterback. Last game here, this one taking place at Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. Virginia Tech versus 13 South Carolina. South Carolina an 8-point favorite. I will ride with the Gamecocks. Josh, what about you?
For sure. Gamecocks easily. Don't even
And
have
what
to do too
about
much
you,
talk
Mac?
about it.
I'm gonna first of all, side note, can we just can I say Austin Simmons so that I don't look like an idiot on there? Austin Simmons, just put that in where that other thing was, if that's a potential possibility. Um, but also, I'm definitely going with the Gamecocks. I can't wait to see Lenore Sellers, quarterback. I'm excited to see what he does this year. I think he'll be a game changer, and I think that South Carolina should cover the -8.5 or -8 spread.
Awesome. Well, throughout the season, we will keep track of how we do. We'll have standings throughout the season, take a look back at each week going into the next. So that'll wrap up week one, our first episode of the M3 podcast. Again, I'm Matthew Travis. That's Josh McMillon, and that's Mac Hereford. Excited to get through the season with you both.
Hey, we're fired up. Let's go. Roll Tide, baby. Week one. Excited. Keep following along with the podcast, with the
You're
picks.
down.
You're going to see that leaderboard. Whoa, calm down. You're going to see that picks leaderboard percentages. You'll be seeing mine go up like the stock price of Bitcoin as Matthew and Josh is kind of teeter down here. So stay tuned. I'm going to give you the best picks of the year.
Any parting words, Josh?
Hey, roll tide, people. Love you.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide.